Hi again. I'm Christer Idhammar, the founder of IDCON Inc. in Raleigh, North Carolina. Today I'd like to continue with a series of Gemba Walks. So this is the third video, and you can also read more about it in attached articles. I have done hundreds, if not more, but I think hundreds is a good word, of current best practices, assessments, implementation plan, training, and implemented also better practices in hundreds of plants on a worldwide basis over my 60 years in this business. And one thing I have learned is, and I've seen in many places, is that top management, well, including the plant manager, the maintenance manager, and sometimes even the supervisors, do not spend enough time to really go out there and work with the front line of maintenance. And that's the Gemba of maintenance, or I like to call it the front line of maintenance. They are the supervisors, the planners, the reliability engineers, the maintenance operations coordinators, and of course the tradespeople and the operators in the organization. That's where everything has to happen. All best practices you implement and you want to implement and so forth, they have to be executed by these people. If they don't do it well, you just had a plan and you got no results most probably. So Gemba Walks, if we call it that, is a very good tool to use in that case. And I have recommended in the earlier videos that managers take some time. And it doesn't take too long time to do this. And that is to be engaged, visible and caring, and to demonstrate that. These are three very important things in leadership. That you are engaged, that you are visible, and that you are caring about to lead your people. The Gemba Walks can then be a very good tool to use. And in the earlier videos we talked about the steps like number 1, organize and plan, inform, observe and learn. And in this one I will like to talk about meet with the people who are concerned, ask questions and have an open conversation with them, and then act and follow up. So perhaps you have chosen the focus area to do Gemba Walk on precision maintenance, including vibration analysis and so forth. And during that walk, you saw that in the earlier videos, you observed perhaps a lot of things like no jacking bolts, or jacking bolts were not backed off properly when there were alignment done. And many shims, or too many shims and too many places, hammer marks on motor feet, perhaps too many shims at many places, and so forth and so forth. So you have learned and you observe this. So then you meet with perhaps 2 to 3 tradespeople and a couple of supervisors representing or involved in those areas of vibration analysis perhaps, and also precision maintenance in their areas. Perhaps you start by asking, how are you recognized for the good work you do here? And people might look at each other, and after a while someone will say never. But you know, it happens, but that is when we really avoided a major breakdown. But otherwise, you know, if we find failures early, and then someone takes care of planning and scheduling replacement, for example, of an important bearing, and that happens then during a shutdown, well, that's kind of invisible. There is no drama around there. There was no breakdown, and I'm not sure people know about that. It started with vibration analysis and that we did a good job there. Sometimes, of course, if we avoided, as I mentioned, major breakdowns, we have something good. We hear something good back. I think even that the tradespeople get more recognition when they fix a big breakdown than we get from avoiding one, because it's invisible many times. If we miss something, for sure we will hear about it. And, you know, someone else would say that, you know, we have 10,000 bearings we are measuring here. And we try to do that on a frequency of every second week, or perhaps once a month sometimes. But we know we need 4 people, and we used to be 4 people, and then we could handle actually to take the measurements and analyze, and we improved greatly. We had very, very few bearing breakdowns. We had We discovered many failures, but nothing else. And then we were cut back to 2. And what we had to do then was, of course, to measure fewer bearings, or we prolonged the frequency, and that didn't work well at all, of course, because we missed many bearings at that time. Then we asked for having more sensors so we could put in and measure on a continuous basis, and by that doing it, and of course the answer was no, that's too expensive. So I don't think it will be better in the future with the limited resources we have, unless we get more online sensors, etc. And then you might ask something about what can you do about it, what are causing all these failures, and they might say, well, alignment is not very good. And you have earlier seen that alignment perhaps wasn't the best with the shims and the marks and so forth I mentioned before. So you're aware of this. And they will say that, yeah, we have to do that because their foundations are not as good as they should be. So therefore, we know it. We have soft foot many times because we have too many shims. So what are we going to do about this? Well, we need to rebuild many of those foundations. But, we know they will say that costs too much money. Okay, you have many discussions like that. You have many more questions. They will start talking about many things, and you're learning from these people. And also you show that you care. You're visible out there. So now the next step is to say, okay, I'm going to come back to you with some ideas here and see what we can do about this. And you have to then come back and see to that you follow through with this. And one thing could be that perhaps you find out that we should use another KPI, key performance indicator, for these people. Because the only thing they now see is number of bearings in alarm. And that means that they focus just on finding faulty bearings. But we like to continuously improve. So we're going to implement to measure the trend of the average vibration level for the most important pieces of equipment. And then we will expand this to every route. And then we will encourage this group, okay, you're not here only to measure the bearings and tell us which ones are faulty. We want you to continuously reduce the average vibration level. And we're going to give you resources to do that. Perhaps we need to start by rebuilding some of the foundations. And let's say we do it like eating an elephant, one piece at a time. For each shutdown, we're going to focus on rebuilding at least 2 of the most important pieces of equipment where we have problems with alignment. And over perhaps the next 3 to 6 months, we might have fixed that problem in all the areas. So that might be one solution. And then you go back to this group and you say, hey, what do you think of this? This is something we like to recognize you for. It will change totally the way this group works, because it's different to say, you're here to find failures. No, you're here to continuously lower the average vibration level per route, for example. And then you follow up on that, and you give recognition when you see the results in this. That is a very important step. Thank you for listening.